Welcome, I'm the Deadwood Jedi, and today we're in Mr. Destiny's account, and we're doing an account takeover here. Now, I've already been on this account, I was working on it on stream, so went ahead and did all the gearing, got everything ready for you, but to give you an idea of where we started, Mr. Destiny had a Double Maneater composition, and he was looking to improve the damage that he was doing, and he was doing almost a 1-key on Nightmare. Well, he has a lot of great champions. He's got a Martyr, and he had a Draco going, but he also had a Romero in there. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with this champion, but Romero is not a damage dealer. He's more of a sustain champion. When you're having an unkillable team, that's not necessary. So I knew immediately I can swap him out, bring somebody else in, and we're going to just up the damage immensely. He's going to be happy, and everything's going to be great. Well, looked at the account, found somebody in there that I said, oh, this is going to be interesting. And I don't know about you guys, but I get a kick out of being creative and trying to find something new. So that's what we did. I took amazing champion, Turvold, and we added him to the Double Maneater composition. So we've got this Turvold Unkillable composition that we're going to be using today. And yeah, the Turvold Unkillable, just really awesome. A little bit tricky because Turvold gets an extra turn. He gets an increased speed buff for himself. So getting the timing and the skills of everything was a bit of a challenge, but we did it. And not only did we do it, but we made it so that we can work this on Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare. And we don't have to change any of the gear, guys. There is no gear that needs to be changed, just the skill usage. It's the only thing we're going to be altering. So I'm very, very happy with this. We did have to do a lot of swapping with the gear to really maximize the damage, but I think we did an excellent job with that, getting everybody with crit rate and getting them crit damage and getting them high attack. I'm very, very pleased with this composition, and I know Mr. Destiny is as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at the champions themselves. Okay, guys, who should we start with? None other than the one, the only Turvold. This big boy here, barbarian with the blue arm and the massive sword and the horns on his head. I mean, weird that a barbarian has horns growing out of his head, but he looks amazing, so I'm down with it. Probably how he got that big, right? Anyhow, we have him pretty much in all attack gear, a couple speed sets to get him raring to go. And the first thing you're going to notice is his speed is super low at 156. Now, that is the way that we get this to go. Because he's giving himself a speed boost, and we need to make sure he doesn't outrun those unkillable buffs. We did go ahead and put him at 156 speed, a very, very effective amount for him. He can be a little bit lower. It can be right. I think this is like the high end, but you can be somewhere between 152 and 156 usually works. I do have this comp on the website, so I'll have the speeds all there, so you can check that out and figure it out for yourself. Now, he puts an increased crit rate on himself, so we don't need to get him to 100% crit rate. 70% is going to do the job. So we have him there. The crit damage is low for Turvold. I would like to have that a lot higher, though we have a massive amount of attack on him. So that's definitely somewhere, if we were looking at this, figuring out how can we make this better, we could sacrifice some of this attack and add more crit damage. But for this build, this is more than fabulous. I think we're going to be very good here. As far as masteries go, there's two ways you can build Turvold. You can build him for damage with the counterattack procs, going down the defensive tree. As far as the offensive tree, this is kind of the way I like to do it, especially with these Maneater builds. Because we're constantly taking damage, we're going down to 0, I do like to take Grim Resolve, so we hit harder when we're under 50%. As always, you want to take Life Drinker so you get a little bit health back, and then otherwise pretty much standard down that offensive tree. Now, we could go down the defensive tree. But because we're going to be bringing Martyr into this, we're going to have counterattack, which is really big for this composition, actually. And because of that, we're actually going to go down the support tree. And the reason why is Turvold on his A1 can place a weaken debuff. And so we want him to be able to do that. So we're going to take Sniper. We're going to take Master Hexer. Lore of Steel's only going to increase the sets that we have on our champion, so that's a good thing to bring in. It doesn't just improve the speed that you have, it also improves the attack bonus that you get, or defensive bonus, or whatever. So it is going to be useful, and then getting a little bit more accuracy. Now, were I to build Turvold, ideally I would have an accuracy banner on him. We don't have one available, so we are using an attack banner right now. Putting an accuracy banner on him will make him actually land that weaken debuff pretty regularly, because that is on his A1, and because we're bringing Martyr, who brings a decreased defense on her A1, the two of them can keep that up pretty much the whole fight. We actually don't need to rely on Draco. And Draco has some weird AI stuff. If there's a weaken or a decreased defense debuff on the clan boss, Draco typically won't use that skill. Well, if we can keep that on anyway, then that's great. Let Draco do damage instead and use his A1 to attack. That's actually a preferable outcome. But this way we can make sure that we have those debuffs on pretty regularly. So that's the idea with that. If you, because Martyr's going to be placing that anyway, Turvold probably is as well. We could go with 0 accuracy on both of them and just let Draco do the work, and that's fine. But actually, I think this is going to give us more damage overall. Moving on to the next champion. We've been talking about him, might as well continue with Draco. Now, obviously, guys, this is, he has the perfect champions for this kind of composition. If you have a Draco, it unlocks so many other possibilities for you when it comes to clan boss. Now, you could obviously bring in like a Fane, who does a lot of the similar stuff that Draco does, just not quite as well. You can definitely use a Venus instead, or you could skip both of those and just bring in somebody that like a Rosin here, and you could bring in another poison champion for the Martyr slot as well. But we're trying to maximize the damage, and we have the chance to do that, so we are going to use Draco here. Obviously, I maxed out as much as I could his attack, his crit rate, and his crit damage, as well as getting his accuracy high enough. So he does slap. He definitely does a lot of damage. Now, the speeds for Draco and Martyr are going to be pretty much the same. We want it between 172 and 178. Now, for the double slow, you have one champion that's fast. For this one to work, we actually don't have the 1.8 champion, 182 champion. So we're just going to have 2 champions at 170 area. And again, I'll have these on the website so you know what they are. And as far as masteries go, so we had Draco already mastered out, so I didn't bother changing him. He was going down here to Master Hexer to extend those debuffs, specifically the poisons, as well as the decreased defense and weaken. That is an excellent way to go with Draco, so I didn't want to change it. Because we're bringing in Martyr, because we already have counterattack in this build, we don't need to go the defensive tree. We don't need to worry about retribution because we're already going to be having counterattack every turn. So going down the support tree is actually a really good way to go with this. And then moving on, we have Martyr here. Now, Martyr is an interesting champion. A lot of people love her. A lot of people don't. My feeling on Martyr is she's great for unkillable teams. She brings a lot of stuff to the table. She brings decreased defense on this A1 ability, which is really valuable. Decreased attack on the A3, which is less valuable. And then counterattack, of course, with an increased defense buff. So the thing with Martyr is that you don't need... she's really great for that. She doesn't bring the shield that Valkyrie does. She doesn't bring the ally protection that Skullcrusher does. But when you don't need those things, when you're an unkillable comp, she's actually better than they are. Otherwise, I actually prefer the other two. So she finds an interesting spot in the counterattack meta as far as champions go. Now, as far as kitting her out, I did, again, try to get her to maximize crit rate and crit damage, as well as some accuracy on her. And that speed, as I said, between that 172, 178 slot. And I want her slower than Draco. I want her to place a counterattack last. So it lasts on everybody as long as possible. And obviously maxing out her defense is what's going to be her damage stats. So we're trying to get that as high as possible. Masteries, I was showing this a little bit earlier, went down the offensive tree and the defensive tree. This is how it was already done. So I didn't want to redo it. If I were to redo it, I would definitely take Methodical, so she just does a little bit more damage with that A1, but it's not a huge thing. I would also probably take Grim Resolve, so again, she does a little bit more damage, but it's not a huge thing. So it wasn't worth kitting her out for. You're going to see we already do crazy damage. So that's why Martyr's great. Bringing that counterattack is huge. It's going to give us 2 extra attacks for our Turvold, our Draco, and our Martyr consistently. And our Maneaters are each going to get at least 1 extra attack. That's really, really good. So that just ups the damage a lot. It's a big plus. And then we have our 2 Maneaters. The 2 Maneaters have the exact same speed as we have in the slow double Maneater composition. 215 for one of them. And then we're going to go 218 for the other one. And we don't need to change it. That's the big thing there. As far as the masteries go, pretty traditional down the attack tree and defensive tree, just so we can... you don't even need to go down defensive tree. Honestly, the attack tree is what we need, but because, again, we have Martyr, we don't need to worry about the retribution counterattack type of stuff. And that's the team, guys. That's it. It's very, very simple. Now, when you're trying to plug this into the calculator, it gets a little bit more complex, so let me go ahead and show you exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, guys, I want to show you really quickly what this looks like in the calculator, kind of give you an idea of how you want to plug this in. So this is going to actually be something that you can use if you want to use any champion that gives you that little extra turn. So you're trying to use a Lord Shazar, for example. This is a great way to do this. Now, Turvold's going to give himself a increased speed buff, right? So if you're using a champion that gives themselves a different increased speed buff, lasts extra turns, or doesn't give them an extra turn, it'll throw this off. So this only applies really to Turvold here, but it will apply to any champion that has an extra turn ability. Not with these speeds, but you can use them in a Double Maneater comp. And let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. When you use a Double Maneater comp, what's happening is, I'm going to go down here so we're actually in the tune. But you can see here, we have Slow Maneater is taking a double turn here at this point, right? And then everybody takes a single turn, and then the Fast Maneater takes a double turn, and then everybody takes a single turn, and then the Slow Maneater takes a double turn. And that's how this Double Maneater composition works. Basically, the Maneaters are alternating when they're taking their double turns, and you'll see the second of those turns, they're always using that A3 ability, the Unkillable ability. So what happens is it goes on, everybody's unkillable for that one clan boss hit, and then everybody takes one turn. It only burns one of those abilities, so they're still unkillable when the second hit comes from the clan boss. And then before the third hit comes in, the other Maneater's putting up the unkillable ability. And that's how you stay unkillable. That's how you stay affinity friendly, because you're blocking all the debuffs the entire time for the whole fight. Now, if you have a champion that takes a double turn, now we know, obviously, my calculator doesn't show the double turn, but here's a skill from Turvold, that A3 ability. What I have to do to make sure that this works is I have to make sure Turvold uses that ability between the two Maneaters. Has to be between the two Maneaters, because what happens is the unkillable ability is going to come up after that. If we have Turvold use that ability here, between, on the single turn, he'll be taking a double turn and he'll burn through that unkillable ability and die. So we have to make sure that happens, that double turn happens between on those double turns when the Maneaters are going. And so that was the trick with timing this out, is making sure that Turvold was using that unkillable ability at the right time. Hopefully that's helpful for you guys, but enough of that. Let's go ahead. I'm going to show you the runs. We're going to do Nightmare and we're going to do Ultra Nightmare so you guys can see exactly how this works. Okay, moving in on this Nightmare run, guys. So as I said, it's a pretty simple run. We're going to have the Fast Maneater block the unkillable between the AoEs on the first cycle, the slow on the second cycle, and on that turn 4, that's when Turvold is actually going to use their speed up ability. So a little bit sooner than what we do on Ultra Nightmare, but works just fine. So as we kind of get into it, getting that counterattack from Martyr, you can see, is super effective. Just getting extra attacks in is always good. Turn count 1. So the Fast Maneater here is going to block the debuffs, keep us affinity friendly, and everybody else is just going to go and use their skills as is appropriate. So whatever that may be. There we go. Right, and somebody probably, the hit is going to go to Draco, so that is the person we're going to want to work out, because Draco's weak affinity, but shouldn't, as I said before, shouldn't really affect things too severely here. Will take the stun, but again, shouldn't be an issue. Nobody involved in the speed tune is going to take the stun, and that's really the key. And okay, there we go. We are in turn count 3. Everybody's got to take their turn here real quick. Should be nice and easy. Moving through. Get the counterattack up. And good to go. There. Right. I know it's tempting to use that Unkillable there, but that's one turn too early, so we don't actually want to use that there from the Slow Maneater. Part of the reason why is we're going to use the speed up from Turvold right here, and that's going to be a huge, huge part of this. It's going to get us right in tune. And now we're going to start whacking and doing some damage, as you can see, very effectively too. There we go. Wait around for that. And there's going to be the Unkillable there from the Slow Maneater. And Martyr's just going to try and put up the decreased defense. Fails. That's okay. And then we do have to continue manually to turn 6, because we need the Fast Maneater to use their Unkillable at the appropriate time. You can see it's available there. It's a little bit too early. We don't want to use it just yet, but we do want to use it pretty shortly here. So here we go. Hits Draco, but we have that debuff blocked. And here we go. First attack from the Maneater. Get the speed up from Turvold. And now we are in tune. Get another attack in there. And we go ahead and put the decreased defense and the weaken back up. Get the counterattack going. And then we're going to go ahead and do the unkillable from that Maneater. And at that point we click auto and we're good to go. And this is going to run all the way through to turn 50. So, over 60 million, or almost 60 million damage on Nightmare. It's a pretty considerably good job, I would say. We're going to go ahead and run in here on Ultra Nightmare now, so I can show you guys exactly how this works. Now, the concepts are the same. The timing's just slightly different because the clan boss is a little bit faster, but the concept stays the same. We're going to use the Fast Maneater's Unkillable ability between the AoEs right here on turn count 1. And then we're going to use the Slow Maneater's Unkillable ability on turn count 4 between those AoEs on the second cycle through. And that's going to be exactly the same. Turn count 6 is when we do hit the tune. The Fast Maneater is going to take that second turn and use the Unkillable on the second attack. And the only other real difference is Turvold. Turvold's going to use that A2, the increased speed ability. We're not going to use it actually until turn count 6, so a little bit longer delay for that. But otherwise, just as effective. We hit auto pretty much at the exact same spot as we did on Nightmare. That's pretty much it, guys. So why don't you sit back, enjoy. I'm going to let this one run as well. Well, guys, not too shabby, right? 51.02 million, I think, is pretty darn good damage. So, I mean, this count has all the great champions. We ended up getting all the gear up to the right spots, but just as impressively, the damage we did reflects that. That's not always the case. So we actually did a really good job with this. I'm really happy. It's pretty cool bringing Turvold into a comp, and you can see the crazy damage he's doing. Almost the same as Draco. Draco's doing 19 over 19, and Turvold doing 15.5 million damage. That dude slaps. And so when you can bring in the right debuffs, bring in the counterattack from Martyr is always huge too. Boy, it can be very, very effective. So that's going to do it for us, guys. We're doing a double Maneater combination here with Turvold. No gear changes needed, and it's good on Nightmare as well as Ultra Nightmare. That's a really, really unique thing to be able to do. It's pretty rare that happens. All you got to do is alter some of the speeds that you're using. The only other comp I can recall that's like that is really that Vergis comp, which is pretty incredible. So this is an excellent option for you guys that have double Turvolds, or that have a Turvold, and double Maneaters. This is going to be a great way for you to go moving forward. Obviously, it's 2 key Ultra Nightmare, 1 key Nightmare, very clean and easy. So definitely something I would recommend. Hopefully you guys found this helpful. If so, hit the like button down below. Go ahead, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you do know when the next one's coming up. I am pretty close to getting to 15,000 subs, which I think is pretty amazing. By the way, I am on Twitch all tomorrow, on Wednesday, as well as Thursday. Come by, check it out. I'm trying to give away some gems all this week. It is my birthday week, so I'm trying to go ahead and do that. I'm going to be off pretty much all weekend as I have a wedding to go to. That's really important. But yeah, if you guys are enjoying this kind of content, come by on Twitch. I literally built this today. This is where you can see that stuff. If you guys want to take over, much like Mr. Destiny here did, go ahead and hit my Patreon up. There's links down below. You can sign up for coaching, which is a really good, affordable way to get some improvement to your composition, get some personalized advice from myself, or you can hit up get a takeover, in which case I'll come in and totally revamp your team for you. So that's a great way to go about doing that. Yeah, not a whole lot else to say, guys. This was a pleasure. I really do look forward to the next time I talk to you. And yeah, until next we meet, I'm the Deadwood Jedi.